Capcom. Uh-oh. I recognize this. This can only mean one thing. We're in a Brental Floss video. Oh no. Get it? 'Cause, he made that song about Megaman. Oh, Brental Floss, what was your appeal? Does he even still make stuff? I know he was still regularly active when I was in college, but of course that was a couple of years ago. More than a couple, in fact. But anyway, who the hell cares about Brental Floss? This Mr. Clean looking ass. We came here to play Megaman 2. So, I don't exactly know the boss order, but I'd like to think I'm skilled enough with this game that I don't need it. I chose Woodman because I mistakenly thought that was the enemy that gives you the buzzsaw, but no, Woodman is the enemy that's weak to the buzzsaw. I was all wrong. But like I said, we'll get through. As Samurai Jack said, I'll find a way. I always have. So this is one of the few Mega Man games that has a difficulty setting. I briefly tried to run through this on the harder difficulty, but it really just messes you up because everything just has maybe like 1 or 2 extra hits and it throws off your timing. Like, for example, there's this rabbit enemy. Yeah, there he is. So on normal mode, he takes 3 hits, and so the window of his attack is short enough that if you can get 3 hits on him quickly, you can take care of him before he can even do his attack. But on hard mode, he takes 5 hits, so the window, it's the amount of time that it takes to kill him is longer than the window that it takes for him to. Have you ever had a dream where I can't talk anymore, but anyway, what I'm trying to say here is that those 2 extra hits make a huge difference because that gives the enemy enough time to counterattack. There we go, that is what I meant to say. Okay, so did you see how I clipped right through the wooden geometry right there? Fancy stuff. I got all the Mega Man skills. This enemy really puts a strain on the NES's sprite limit, doesn't he? It's just a flickering mess, but of course that's just part of the NES experience, is the game's not working the right way. I feel like modern reviewers would complain about that, and the flickering hurts my eyes. This is just a confusing flickering mess. I give this game a 2 out of 10. Speaking of which, whatever happened to that doofus that gave God Hand a 3 out of 10? I've never actually played God Hand, but I follow gamer news enough to know that was a very undeserved score. Game reviewers simply do not know. Video Game Kerplunky made a topic on this exact subject, made a video on this exact topic once, and he was very right. Game critics just plain old suck. So anyway, earlier I was joking about Brental Floss looking like Mr. Clean, and I'm not the only person to make that joke. There was a JonTron video where they actually did cast him as Mr. Clean, and I'd venture to say that was one of the most inspired casting choices there ever was. I was going back and looking at that video, and I just kind of had like this sad moment of clarity, because the specific clip I was looking for, it had Paul Ritchie from the Continue show, it had JonTron, and it had, I almost called him Mr. Clean, and it had Brental Floss in it, and I just thought, wow, out of these 3 people, none of these people have careers that people care about anymore. Times have moved on. These were people that were famous and cool when I was in college, and apparently that was quite a few years ago, because now all these people have just disappeared. It's the end of an era, my friends. All of the 2014 era YouTubers are long gone, just like Woodman's gonna be right then and there. I was gonna plan in advance and say just like Woodman's gonna be at 4 minutes and 48 seconds, but then we went and killed him before I could even say it. So yeah. So here's our first new upgrade. We get to turn into Upgrade from Ben 10. Remember that? From the original Ben 10 series from 2005? That was a good old action show. Okay, so next up we got Fan Man or whatever. He's not a fan of us. This is one of the harder levels. Just with the environmental hazards and what have you. So I'm sure this observation has been made hundreds if not thousands of times before, but this enemy, where's his mouth exactly? Is it that tube-shaped thing right next to his eyes, or is it that horizontal line closer to the bottom? Honestly, I can see it both ways. If he's got like a Cubert snout. Yeah, think like Cubert or Birdo or any of those types of characters that just have a giant snout in the center of their face. When you look at this guy for long enough, you kinda start to see it, don't you? How about that? I've given you a new perspective on something you've seen many times. That is, assuming that you haven't heard this joke from another Let's Player. But yeah, this show is my one chance to get in front of an audience, and I guess I'm using it well. I'm teaching your ignorant ass new things. New perspectives. With Very Nice and Hot Dog Person. Remember that show within a show on Uncle Grandpa? It was New Perspectives with Very Nice and Hot Dog Person. Or maybe it wasn't New Perspectives, but something like that. Yeah, somebody out there knows what I'm talking about. This guy knows what I'm talking about. You can't see it, but I'm pointing towards the the screen. If you do in fact know what I'm talking about, then you can assume that you were the person that I was pointing at just then. This is a good show, huh? Just garbage. So I was looking at the timeline for this episode in my editing software, and it looks like I forgot to put in an intro. You see, the way my editing process works, if I don't put in the intro as the very first step of making an episode, it becomes extremely difficult to add it in after the fact. So at this point it's really too late, so I guess there just won't be an intro for this episode. We're gonna have a good old-fashioned cold open. Like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. They always start with a cold open. But of course they've actually got like talent and comedic timing and all of those other things, so they can get away with it. I can't do that. I'm just a Let's Player. I gotta put a funny sound effect at the start in order to grab people's attention. Halifax. There, just pretend I said that at the start of the episode. Just imagine my usual title card with that sound effect on it. Halifax. Yeah, there you go. That's the intro for this episode. It said 8 minutes and 40 seconds in. Can you get through? Okay, now you gotta go around the other way. They hit it with the clouds, you see. Very sneaky, yes. Using foreground items to obscure the action was very futuristic for the NES. Not many games could do that, as it was a very limited tool. I've mentioned it before, but I've always found it interesting just how much juice they were able to squeeze out of the NES, because when you look at the original Super Mario Bros. And then Super Mario Bros. 3, you would not think that they came from the same system, and yet they did. Talented programmers working at Nintendo. We are Nintendo. You cannot beat us. You guys have seen that commercial, right? That NES commercial with the creepy early CG renders, and it has the Nintendo characters coming out of the screen, and they keep chanting, "We are Nintendo. You cannot beat us." I miss when commercials were fun. I'm just so utterly blinded by nostalgia. My memories are all that I have. The quarantine has been going on for almost 2 years now, and it's just the same thing, day in and day out. The same old garbage over and over again. But anyway, at least I have my warm memories of commercials that I never actually saw when they originally aired. At least I have my memories of those to keep me going throughout this trying time. So anywho, I suppose I'd consider myself to be a third generation Mega Man fan. Because of course you had the first generation of just Mega Man games, the normal ones, in the 80s, and then you had the second generation, the Mega Man X games in the 90s, and then you had the Mega Man Battle Network games in the 2000s, and that was about where I started paying attention, and unfortunately there was never a fourth generation of Mega Man games to spawn a new wave of fans. After the early 2000s, this series just kinda fell off the face of the earth. Although technically Mega Man 11 is one of the best-selling games in the series, it doesn't feel like the series is popular, you know? There seems to be this disconnect with all my favorite franchises where everything's selling the best that it has, but I don't know any other people who are also into the thing. The popularity all just really seems to be an illusion. There are no other Mega Man fans at my workplace. Just a bunch of crusty 60-year-old men. Yes. So, Airman shouldn't be much further off, I would imagine. Yep, there he is right now. Just like I was saying. He's gonna blow us. Ha 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 ha. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I gotta do better. That is unacceptable for a Let's Player with 33 subs. Gotta hold myself to a higher standard. So yeah, there he goes. He didn't really try. But that's okay, 'cause now he's dead. And now I am the host of Nightline, and he is dead. That was a quote from an old episode of The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. Uh-oh, special message. Santa? As that yellow M&M says in that commercial. Santa? You think someday disability advocates are gonna get angry at the yellow M&M because he's dumb and that's like a slight against mentally disabled people? Or will it go the other way and disability advocates will make the yellow M&M like a symbol of their movement and that's their representation in the media and be more like the yellow M&M?
Now Artest has jumped over the scorer's table and is trying to get down to the bench.
Alright, round 2. Let's get this party started. Norm Macdonald once famously said, "Don't fuck with Uncle Terry when he's been drinking," and Crashman's about to learn a very similar lesson. Don't fuck with Mega Man when he's got the wind cannon. We are gonna do to him what Chris Brown did to Rihanna. Just Wait, no, that's not right, because we're gonna fire a wind cannon at him. That's not what Chris Brown did to Rihanna. He didn't fire a wind cannon at her. That's not even something that exists in real life. So, I think AVGN showcased this level once on like an episode that was themed around game difficulty or something. And game difficulty as a concept has become a bit of a controversial issue lately. Because games want to be all-inclusive these days. That means being inclusive of whiny people. And so now we're at the point where not only can video games not be offensive, but they can't be hard either. And this is so difficult. I actually did read an article about this exact subject, and I went into the Reddit thread to argue for game difficulty, and To my surprise, most of the Redditors agreed with me on that one. Usually that's not the case. So yeah, that was quite the pleasant surprise. Going in there, I certainly did not expect people to agree with me. See, that's the thing about Reddit. Everyone on the site either looks like Tom Holland or Boogie2988. It's either one extreme or the other. And so once you have that picture in your mind, you start to realize that, I don't think anyone in this thread's really gonna see eye to eye with me on this issue, but that time things were different. Kudos to you, internet nerds. Kudos to you, internet nerds. I don't know what those rectangles are there for. Maybe it's to catch your fall if you fall off on this part. You're very susceptible to doing so. With hard hit McGee. Yeah. So, big ladders definitely seem to be a theme of this level, huh? Reminds you of the big ladder in Metal Gear Solid 2? Wasn't there a big ladder in that one? Somebody decided one day that I want to be able to... What was that Hannibal Buress speech about ladders? Fuck it, I'll just put in a clip of that instead. He can articulate it better than I can. Let's get some ladder comedy in here. Here we go.
What do you think people did before ladders? Was it just like, well, I can't fix that shit?
Well put, Hannibal Buress. Well put. Okay, I think we've fulfilled our quota of ladder comedy for this episode. Next episode we'll have to come up with a completely different clip. Because that's what Let's Play audiences expect these days. Jokes about ladders. It's very difficult to make any progress, as you can see, because they keep knocking you right off of there. That ain't no good. But generally speaking, we seem to be moving ahead at a decent pace. Okay, so that health item brought us back to about 2/3 of where we were before we tried to get it. Definitely not an exercise in futility. Anyway, for all my struggles trying to get up the big ladder, at least we can say that we're getting through this game faster than Aaron Hansen did. Oh yeah, there you go, there's that again. There he goes with his Aaron Hansen again, but anyway, it's a short enough game that I think I can beat this entire game in like 6 episodes. Compared to how they did it, and it was like 11. Because I'm not a stupid idiot, so it won't take me 11 episodes to beat a half-an-hour long game. Somebody out there's watching this and they're probably thinking, but wait, they played on the hard difficulty and you're playing on the easy difficulty. Well, I don't know what to say about that, but all I know is I've got the skills to pay the bills, no matter what some angry people in the comments might potentially say. Okay, so let's fulfill our promise and send Crashman back to hell. Here we go. 1, 2. There you go. He didn't stand a chance. And so, Crashman lived up to his name today, in that he crashed into those bullets with his face and body. Just shameful. Megaman 2 is like Lisa the Painful in a sense, where the death of every enemy is nothing to be celebrated. Every enemy was a unique person with their own name that no one else had, and when they're gone, they're just gone forever, and it's tragic. But anyway, onward with Quickman's stage. Thankfully, I remember the lyrics from that Brennel Floss song about Mega Man 2, and he had that section of the song where he went over the boss order.
Robot masters, Mega Man is stronger, faster, Metal Man and Airman use the arm cannon blaster. Air on crack, metal on flat, metal on bubble on heat on wood. Finally, Quickman, kind of a Quickman, you scratch bombs and you're good.
Yes, thank you, Brennel Floss. You were single-handedly helping to move this Let's Play forward. That's the best thing he ever did for the world, was to aid in the progression of a Let's Play that's gonna be seen by 2 people. Kudos, Brentalfloss. Kudos. So anywho, yeah, Quickman stage. Hardest stage in the game, let's go. This one is exemplary of how difficult and unfair video games used to be in the 8-bit age. There's no weenies allowed. Everything comes at you so damn fast, you gotta be lightning fast. You gotta be faster than Boogie 2988 trying to get to the buffet. Just whoosh. If you stand around for even a millisecond, you will regret it. See that? Quickman stage, don't fuck around. So if you shoot those torch enemies, it knocks out the lights for the entire stage, and you have to guess at where the platforms are. Who the hell am I trying to explain to you how Mega Man 2 works? This game came out like 35 years ago. If you don't know it at this point, I don't think hearing it from me is really gonna make a difference. You think there's actually some doofus out there who's legitimately never seen gameplay of Mega Man 2 before, and this is the place they're gonna go to, somehow? I would be quite surprised at that. Hey, ooh, that was a close one. Whoa, energy beam ahoy! So, slight setback there, but I'm not gonna let that stop me. I have every intention to beat this game, so why stop now? We're 2 episodes in after all. If we were to throw in the towel at this point, that would just be a colossal waste. Yeah, big talk from somebody who's never actually completed a game in 3 years of doing this, just like it says in the description. But Mega Man 2's gonna be different. Short enough that you can do it in 6 episodes. Come on, baby, we got this. Just a little further. This is how the pros do it. And there you go. That's how you do it, son. Let's see you try to do the same. So anywho, let's not get belligerent with the fans. A Quickman should be right beyond this next segment, and we will soon find out, is Quickman quick enough to dodge bullets? For his sake, he better be. Okay, so let's equip those crash bombs just like in the song, and let's get down to business here. There he is. It's the theater thug. Let's get him. And there he goes. He wasn't quick enough, evidently. So, next up is, Middleman. That is, unless I get depressed and delete all of the footage, in which case, I guess there just won't be anything after this.
Another game from the studios of FreeOnlineGames.com.
I got a lot of problems with you people.
And here we go again. Mega Man Part 3. This is gonna be more fun than the Iranian hostage crisis. Well, that's not a very high bar, is it? So, here's Metal Man. Mega Man purists out there would insist that we were supposed to do this stage first because the saw is arguably the best power-up in the game. But don't listen to the purists, they don't know. Ain't nobody gonna tell me how to play Mega Man. I can do and say whatever I want. I'm like that guy in the Burger King crown on that plane. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that. Anyway, the NES really struggles at this part. I feel like Mega Man's gonna give someone an epileptic seizure with all of his flashing about the place. Gotta put warning labels on this shit. Or else somebody who weighs 90 pounds is gonna complain. I was watching this Let's Play and, the character was, flashing a lot and it, upset my epilepsy. That's my impression of you. So this segment's annoying. There's far too many drills. If IGN were to review this, they'd probably say 7 out of 10, too many drills. You guys remember that, don't you, when IGN complained about there being too much water in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire? What a stupid thing to do. Just think, pretty much every game journalist out there at one point was a bright young college student who had a future to look forward to and probably wanted to become a novelist of some kind and write fascinating books for educated people, and then reality hit, and now they're writing reviews of SpongeBob's Hysterical History Tour or whatever, and personally, I give SpongeBob's Hysterical History Tour a 6.5 out of 10, because I thought it didn't have enough scenes with Sandy in it. Sandy's my favorite character because I like to support feminist causes in my video games that are based on cartoons. Gosh, what a world we live in. People get paid to write that schlock you read on IGN or GameSpot or 1UP. Is 1UP even still around? Or Kotaku? Or, I guess that's pretty much all of them. All the ones that matter. So, Megaman's not a fan of little pink clowns and nightcaps, as you can see. But I guess that's just sort of the natural reaction when literally everything that moves wants to kill you. At some point you just get toughened up to the world and you don't tolerate anyone's BS anymore. Hey, you know what would be funny if whenever Mega Man died in this game they played the Eric Andre "We'll be right back" noise instead of just the meh 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 meh. It would be funny at least a few times, and honestly after that it would probably get old, but I don't know, it's a half-decent idea. It's not like the Japanese people at Capcom are aware of Eric Andre. I get the impression the Eric Andre show would translate very poorly into other languages. Well, I guess the physical comedy, like when he smashes his face through the desk and that sort of thing, that would translate well, but by and large I think a lot of the humor would be lost. So anywho, getting back to all things Mega Man, I was a bit too young to have experienced Mega Man when it was at the height of its popularity in the 8-bit era, but I'd imagine it must have been pretty cool for people who were around back then. Because I've seen articles about how Capcom made toys of all the Robot Masters back in the late 80s, and would have been kinda neat to own that. Well, I guess they did kinda do that when I was a kid too, during the Battle Network era, that they had like a few plastic Mega Man toys like Metal Man and Guts Man, and so I guess I did get to experience that as a kid. But anyway, where I'm leading with this is I saw an art project where somebody made some claymation toys of all the, well, I guess they're not toys, but clay models of all the Mega Man Robot Masters, and they turned out really good, and it just kind of filled me with this sort of childlike sense of wonder and nostalgia, and oh, I wish I had had toys like that when I was a youth. Let's look at a few pictures of them right now. Cool, huh? There's some talented artists out there. I wish I was a talented artist, so then I could create something of value, instead of just yelling at my computer in 10-minute increments. So anywho, here's Flashman's stage. I'm not gonna spend the remainder of this episode just coming up with words that rhyme with Flashman, cause I don't treat my audience like they're a bunch of imbeciles. Who would do that? Gosh, wouldn't that just be the worst thing ever? Try to imagine it. Does Flashman know Bashman, and Bashman is mean to people on the internet? I would never do such a thing. I have respect for my audience. So anyway, let's talk about something engaging, like the history of the series. So, most people know, well actually few people know, that the creator of Mega Man is Kenji Inafune, And even fewer people know that the term creator in that sense should really be used pretty lightly, because Kenji Inafune claims to be the creator of Megaman, when in reality all he did was he just drew a picture of the character on paper. He didn't do any of the programming or the sprite work or anything that mattered. He just came up with a doodle of sorts, and then he went around parading himself as the creator of this video game. He thinks he's hot shit when it was the people under him who actually made the freaking game. He has no right to claim that he was the creator of Megaman. As that one guy says,
Who gave you the right?
yeah, so fuck you, Kenji Inafune. I bet that's not even your real name. The biggest fraud in all of gaming. As Guru Larry would say, the biggest fraud since Peter Molyneux. So anywho, switching topics, I was watching some Digital Foundry the other day, and they had that episode about playing modern systems on CRT televisions, and I felt inspired and wanted to try it for myself, and so I did. And the results were surprisingly better than I expected them to be, because I hooked up the PS5 to this old CRT that I've had since like 2003, and I expected a significant downgrade in the overall visual fidelity of it, but to my surprise, the games look pretty much about the same, even though they're on a TV from 2003. It kind of makes me wonder, maybe I shouldn't have bought that 4K TV a while ago. There isn't much of a use for it if the old CRT is still fully functional, and the input lag's a lot better on the CRT than it would be on a normal TV anyway. I gotta say, this is a heck of a thing to discover. It's like something you find in a dream. You just dig up an old TV you haven't used in a decade, and somehow it's able to use all your modern game systems, and they still look great. It's a heck of a thing, I tell you. I tried out like Hulu and all those other, related apps that the PS5 offers also, and I was curious how those would look, and that looks pretty good too. Some of the episodes are kind of cut off on the side, and episodes that are meant to be in 4:3 are still kind of like compressed into like a little box, even though it's on a 4:3 TV. There's still the letter boxes on the edges, but all in all, very interesting. Uh-oh, what do we got here? Message from Nightopia. I love that song. So, we continue to make steady progress in this game, and I have it on good authority that we're gonna beat the game next episode. For those of you who know this game well, you're probably wondering how I'm gonna do that, seeing how we still have half the game to go. Don't know how I'm gonna do all that in 10 minutes, but we'll see. You just gotta believe in me, or whatever, or some shit.
I can say big loud things.
Alright, it's the finale. Let's go. First time in the history of this channel we're gonna beat a game. This is the episode where it's all gonna come together. Everything's gonna happen over the course of this next 10 minutes. Babies will be born. Men will die. Mega Man's gonna get his arm caught in the ticket muncher at Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah, you're probably thinking, well, where did that last one come from? Is that something that happened to you? But, ticket muncher shenanigans aside, the background for this level's really annoying to look at, huh? Look at all this flashing, just moving NES tile set imagery. This is the type of shit that would give someone a seizure.
Oh,
like that
damn it!
episode of
Now I'm hungry for a seizure salad.
Yep, that was the name of the episode.
That's good.
Anyway, but it was the episode where they met Porygon, and Porygon's power was to give people seizures, both in the show and in real life. And so there was a lawsuit, and this cartoon is harmful to the youth of America. All those crazy religious fundamentalists who said Pokemon were evil might have actually been onto something, just not in the way that they intended. It's more coincidental than anything else. But anyway, the jumping's a little funny in this one. Not funny ha-ha, but more like funny like Amy Schumer. But anyway, you jump a lot higher than you normally would because you're underwater, you see. And at the same time, the game designers try to penalize you for jumping high by putting those spikes at the top. You see them there. Makes this very challenging. You gotta jump high, but not too high.
It is time for the jump highs to begin now!
I'd say that clip more or less summarizes what we're trying to do here in Bubble Man's stage. Jump high. Tropical Cocktails is a good show, and don't listen to anybody who tries to tell you otherwise. Don't listen to them about anything. So anywho, aesthetically speaking, this looks awfully similar to that level that shows up in AVGN's theme song where the Ninja Turtle has to swim through the very narrow passage and you can't touch the electrical coral on the side. You guys know what I'm talking about? You know, I was watching AVGN just the other day, and it's really just getting kind of sad, because, I mean, he's still going after all these years, which, just when you hear that on its own, it sounds like a good thing, but then you actually see it, and it's just so damn pathetic. He's like 73 years old, and his hairline's all receded, and he's still screaming at NES games, and this game is ass. And I think his routine's a bit played out at this point. The fact that he's just stuck doing a character until the day he dies because of the demands of his fans is quite sad. 'Cause, I mean, he's mentioned before publicly that he wants to do things other than AVGN. He wanted to do more movie-based stuff, but he can't, 'cause that's not what the people want. People want AVGN every day for the rest of their lives. Smoke AVGN every day. Worst joke of 2022 already. So I didn't even acknowledge Bubble Man. He just he popped like a bubble. No, that's not funny. I was just thinking of that episode of SpongeBob where everybody chants "Pop the bubble, pop the bubble, pop the bubble." Yeah, you guys know. Real OGs know about SpongeBob. So next up we got Heat Man. So here's a theory of mine. So he's Heat Man and he's like in a box. You know, like just the overall design of his character. Is that a reference to hot boxing? Did Kenji Inafune smoke the weed? Did Video Game Man do drugs when he made video game? But anyway, the point I'm getting at here is there some kind of heated box in real life that was based on, or is it just a coincidence? I mean, it's probably not a reference to hotboxing. I mean, that's not even a phrase that exists in Japan where this game was made. You really need the saw blade for this level. Things are just coming at you from all sides. Speaking of being surrounded on all sides, I once saw this funny dub of an Arthur cartoon. I've talked about it before, specifically in my DBZ Kakarot series, but to reiterate, I saw this funny cartoon that's not around anymore where somebody dubbed over Arthur, and there was a scene where the principal had a megaphone, and so they dubbed over it, so the principal was shouting into the megaphone and pointing at Buster Baxter, and he was saying, "Hey everybody, this guy's a get him!" And then like a group of people form a circle around him and he says, "Oh no, not again." God damn, do I miss those videos. Maybe someday I'll be famous enough that somebody out there's gonna actually know what I'm talking about and they can find them on some other site and they can come to me and say, "Look, Let's Play Man, your favorite videos still exist. I went out and found them for you." Okay, this next segment right here, this is why I waited to do Heatman's stage last. This is very difficult when you're just a stupido like me. I'll get there though. This is a pre-recorded video after all. So, how are you doing today, audience? I'm kinda running out of things to say here. Okay, I got something. Remember back in Donkey Kong Country when I introduced that new segment, Mongoose Fact Corner? Let's do another one of those again. Megaman was based on the popular Japanese anime character Astro Boy during the concept art phase of the first game. Good lord, can I just not talk at all anymore? I'm just stumbling over my damn words like a fool. But anyway, yes, that's not just some stupid nonsense I made up. Mega Man was in fact based on Astro Boy, as that was a very popular anime over in Japan. Personally, I never saw the appeal. I don't get why Astro Boy inspired so many different things. We didn't have no Astro Boy here over in the good old US of A, and we were perfectly fine. We didn't need Astro Boy. We had the big guy in Rusty. It was functionally the same thing. You got a little robot boy who flies around shooting laser beams out of his fingers. Same shit, basically. Yeah. Boy, this block puzzle really just takes no prisoners, huh? Imagine having to do this shit without save states. No wonder so few people played video games back then. Just a bunch of fucking panty wastes. The video game is being mean to me by not letting me beat it. How did game difficulty get to be such a controversial issue in the past, 5 years? I guess that's just a byproduct. Well, we've talked about this in this very series before. Let's not repeat ourselves too much, but anyway, what I was going to say is if games didn't strive to be so inclusive about everything, there probably wouldn't be so many damn whining people complaining that video games as an industry need to change to accommodate me and my needs. 'Cause I'm so special. You need to make changes to all video games, past, present, and future, so that they're better for me. I'm the center of the world. Video games were generally better when they only had to accommodate cool people and not the type of person that I'm describing. Here's the thing about finales and Let's Play channels. You're probably thinking, uh-oh, here he goes. Here comes a rant. But here's the thing about finales and Let's Play channels. The audience has this kind of expectation that since this is the final episode that wraps things up, that somehow this episode's gonna be better than all of the ones that came before it. Somehow I'm gonna try harder and I'm gonna cram more jokes in there, and well, anybody who came into this episode with those expectations has been sorely let down, I'm sure. This just totally sucks ass. So, let's give this block puzzle another push. Ain't no block puzzle gonna make a fool out of me. You think you're better than me, Kenji Inafune? So, in a minute here, there's like a hidden one-up that they try to entice you with, but yeah, see, there it is. Don't go for it. That's a trap. It's all lies. Anyway, I was reading an article on declining population statistics in Japan. Yeah, there's a real cheery topic for you. Anyway, and one of the comments was just one of the most selfish, just self-centered things I've ever seen. They were basically all like, yeah, I want Japan to have a large population so that Nintendo can keep making games for me. And that's just sad that there's just a generation of men out there who see the world's geopolitical problems in terms of video games. As if Japan just runs out of people and an entire race goes extinct, that means that there won't be Mario games for me anymore. That's the real issue here. And Good God, people, go outside. Okay, so that was Heatman. At this point, you're probably looking at the time remaining in the video, and you're probably wondering, now this is a finale, but we've only got a few minutes left in the video, and half the game left to go. How are we gonna manage that? Well, I'll tell you, we're gonna get to the end with the power of video editing. Arg, ye have defeated me, you wee fanny.
Congratulations! Congratulations! Congratulations!
Congratulations.
Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Congratulations!
Congratulations.
Congratulations!